With my capture card broken, I've turned to my Steam library in search of games to review. I don't have much in here, but I've got a handful of old Sega games I bought last year in the Dreamcast Collection for like $5. Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio, Nights into Dreams, Sega Bass Fishing, Sonic Adventure, and Space Channel 5 Part 2 have all been sitting there unplayed in my library, so let's change that. I figured I could do a mini-series of reviews taking a look at these games. I'm not going to be doing one for Sonic Adventure though, I want to make a bigger deal for that game, and I've also played through it multiple times in the past. The rest of these I have no experience with whatsoever, and I want to provide a newcomer's perspective on each of them. Actually, that's not entirely true. I've played a game similar to Crazy Taxi, and I have a rough idea of what I'm getting myself into this time around. The Simpsons Road Rage is basically the same thing, and I've played a decent bit of that game. I even made a review of it a couple years back you can watch via that card that just popped up. I enjoyed that game quite a bit, so I'm pretty excited to play this. Let's give it a shot. Right off the bat, I have to say, I love the music in this game. It fits the high-speed gameplay perfectly and makes the game feel even more action-packed and chaotic. Even the menu has that feeling and gives you a good idea of what's to come. So let's talk about the different modes. There's Arcade, Original, and Crazy Box. Arcade and Original have the exact same gameplay but feature a different map, and they're both pretty okay. But they feel very similar, there isn't a ton of variety, and they can be hard to tell apart at times, which is a letdown in itself, but the fact that there's only 2 of them only makes it worse. I guess it is a good thing though. With navigation being a big part of the game, knowing your way around is very important, and having fewer maps makes that less of a daunting task. If you have no idea where anything is, there's an arrow at the top of the screen to guide you to where you're supposed to go, and it works pretty alright most of the time, but other times it really doesn't. It'll guide you the wrong way, point to a wall, tell you you're going the wrong way when you're trying to actually find a viable way to go. It can really suck at times. This doesn't happen all too often, but when it does, it throws off the whole round and is very frustrating. The gameplay itself is great though, and the concept works very well. You're a taxi driver, pull up to passengers, and take them to their destination in a timely manner. The faster you transport them, the more money you get, and you can earn even more money by dodging cars and flying off ramps. Each passenger gives you a time limit though, so if you take too long, they'll hop out of the car and you won't get paid. In terms of game length, that's up to you. You could select arcade mode, where you start with 50 seconds, gain time when you pick someone up, and try to stay alive as long as possible, or you could opt for a 5 or 10 minute timer. Those are all the fundamentals of it. That's pretty much all you need to know. It's simple, yes, but it's incredibly difficult to master. But that's partially due to the controls, as they're far from ideal. To move your car, you press the gas button. Forward and backward depend entirely on what gear your car is in. There's a button for drive and one for reverse, which means in order to turn your car around, you have to switch to reverse, back out, and switch back to drive, and this is clunky as all hell. I mean, I get it, it's more realistic, as there's a button to brake and a button for gas, as there would be in an actual car, but having to shift from drive to reverse and vice versa to get out of a corner is so annoying to do. It's so easy to get stuck on things with how slippery the car controls. This thing glides on roads and can be pretty difficult to be precise with, so odds are you'll find yourself in situations where you have to back up quite a bit, and this control method will make that take some time. That's the biggest problem I have with this game, but it's not that bad. Annoying, yes, but it's a more realistic approach to driving, so I'll give it a break. You know what's even harder to pull off? Drifting. You have to quickly shift from drive to reverse and back to drive while turning, and this is pretty difficult to pull off, but even when you do, it's even harder to control. I found myself spinning out, shooting to the side, or flying far away from my destination time and time again. I'm sure you could master this and it would work great, but that would take lots of time and practice, which I honestly don't want to put into this. For as complex as some things can be, they do a fairly decent job at trying to teach you everything. The mode I haven't talked about yet, Crazy Box, is just a bunch of missions, and each one is a tough challenge that requires the use of a certain maneuver. When you go to start the mission, if you press start, it will explain to you what to do to pull off the stunt, and honestly, it does a pretty good job at tutorializing the game, and after tackling a handful of these missions, I saw drastic improvements in my overall play. There's only 12 missions though, but there doesn't need to be many. Each one takes some time to master, and I'm honestly glad there aren't a lot. It's great as is. And that's really all I have to say about the game. I had some fun with it, but it's not the most ideal control scheme out there, and it feels way too slippery to be precise. But you know what? It's an enjoyable game regardless. It's exciting, fast-paced, adrenaline boosting, and once you get the controls down, easy to pick up every once in a while, play in short bursts, and have a good time with. And that's all the game was designed to be as an arcade game, so it really succeeded as that. With that said, I just briefly want to lay out the structure for the rest of these videos. At the end of each one, I'll be throwing it in my Dreamcast Collection Ordinal Game Ranking Scale. If you don't know what that means or why I refuse to give number ratings, I strongly suggest you watch this video Lamhoot made that goes over all of it. It makes a lot of sense and is explained in an entertaining way. In essence, the Ordinal Scale ranks things using only greater than and less than values, so rather than giving game X a 6 and giving game Y a 7, you would say that game X is not as good as game Y. Since I haven't played the rest of these games yet, I can't rank anything right now, so stay tuned for next time when I take a look at Jet Set Radio. Keep in mind, this rating scale is just to determine which ones are the most worthy of being picked up and which ones aren't, as they're reviews, but honestly, when the collection goes on sale, you should buy the entire thing and give them all a try. That's not much money at all. You can't get much more value for so little. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like, and if you want to see more and help the channel grow, you should definitely subscribe. It's free for you and means a lot to me. Thank you. Do you have any experience with this game? I'd love to read some of your stories down in the comments. If you've got any feedback or recommendations recommendations for me, feel free to drop those in the comments too. I take everything you guys say into consideration. Thank you. Thanks again for watching, everyone. I'll catch you in the next one.